What's up, little buddies, and welcome to the Sports Bar Dads podcast, a show with regular, everyday guys and dads talking about nonsense that everyday guys and dads talk about. This isn't a place where we try to motivate you to get a six-pack or what stock to buy or even what political candidates to suck off. How about we just try and get to the week with the bills paid and not screwing up our kids more than we already have. Just guys being guys and mainly talking shit. So whether you're to or from work or just pretending like you are working, why don't you come have a laugh with us? Oh, and go fuck yourself. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sports Bar Dads podcast. This is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be solo mission today. Nutsack Moy wasn't able to record this week, so it'll be a solo, but kind of a quick pod. Not a lot to it, just pretty quick and something that I want to talk about. Something that I think is just something that I had been thinking about the last couple of days that has kind of gotten to me, and it's you know, right now with all the political and nonsense that's going on and the fighting and the news media's back and forth doing this and that and screaming at the other one, and really what it boils down to, and part of the reason that we started this podcast is everyday guys and gals, fathers, parents like us, we don't really care about the bullshit that those people are doing and that what they want to consume our lives. For me, I know I speak for myself when I say that I'm just trying to get through each and every day, working full time, having a career, raising a family. I'm a father of 4 children. And as most of you guys out there know, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's tough, and every single day there's something new, a new challenge to tackle, something else that happens, whether it be to ourselves, to our kids, that we need to put our focus and attention on top of the fact that it's just, trying to pay the bills, trying to get through the week. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about and point out, something that happened last week, and I've talked about my son before, my son who's 14, he's an athlete. It's actually all he cares about right now is sports. I've talked to him about his grades and being on top of his grades, and his response is, "Dad, I just want to play sports." And I'm like, all right, numbnuts, you got to pass your classes in order to play. But it's like, that's all he passes his classes for, is to play. And I need to be more on top of his grades and his academics, but it is what it is. But sports is his life. And I do everything I can to try and make it to all his games, take him to all his practices. But with the amount of hours that I do put in at work, it's not always easy, right? And of course, as parents out there know, it's a pain in the ass a lot of times you get home from work, a long day, and then you're shuttling kids around, right? From this practice to this practice to this performance. And before you know it, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. You haven't eaten dinner. You haven't gotten things done around the house, and you got to go to bed because you got to wake up the next morning, right? And it repeats. It's a repeating cycle. So as big of a pain in the ass as it is, I mean, it's worth it for our kids. And so while I try and make it to all of my kids' events, performances, games, whatever it may be, I don't always make it, right? And that's something that I'm trying to improve at. But if I don't make it, it's because of work. And I do work odd hours. I do work quite a bit of overtime. And regardless, my son, he plays middle school basketball, and this last week was playoffs. Now, it's a proud moment for me, something that I was really happy about. But my son hit a buzzer beater, 3-pointer in his championship game to win the game, right? And I'm gonna play a clip. It was recorded, and before I started, shout out to the Real Fit Fam El Paso on Instagram. They did they made a video with some music in the background and an edit and a cut. That was really cool. Really came out cool that I got to see. That was pretty special for my son. And for those of you guys who don't know what the Instagram page is, it's a pretty popular page here locally where we live, and a lot of people follow it. So a lot of people saw it, were commenting on it. So my son thought he was a little local legend for a day or whatever, walking around with big old nuts, you know. But I'm going to play the video, and for those of you who are only listening audio, I'll kind of explain it. But, you know, just a proud moment. So my son's team is down by 2 in the fourth quarter, 2 undefeated teams, and they're down by 2 with less than 20 seconds in. And they're passing it around, really good defense by the other team. And with just a few seconds left, the kid kicks it out to my son, and my son drains a 3-pointer to win the game, right? And the crowd is going crazy. They do a replay of it from another angle to show my son sinking a 3, and to show his teammates jumping up and down, going crazy. And it's a really, really cool moment for my son. And then it cuts to like the locker room area where the kids are jumping up and down when their coach runs in, throwing water on him. They're jumping up and down and cheering. And then it goes to my son, who's got the trophy in his hand. He says they didn't believe in us, but who did? And they all yell, God did. And they're all in the bus on the way back to the school. And then it cuts back to more of the celebration once he nailed the shot. And that was to win the championship game. That did win them the championship game. Buzzer beater to win the championship. I mean, I know that never happened to me. Really cool moment for my son. He was really happy. But all this to say that I wasn't there. I was at work. And trust me, it's been kicking my own ass. I've been kicking my own ass for it ever since. I had to work some overtime. Now, I will say this, that all his games throughout the season were on Wednesdays. And this just so happened to be on a Thursday. He had the semifinal round on Wednesday, which I went to, and the championship game on Thursday. And I tried to get my hours switched over so I could work on Wednesday instead of Thursday, but I couldn't. So I had to work on Thursday, knowing that if they made the championship that I would miss the game, which was hard enough in itself. And then to learn that this happened. And I was pretty gutted. I felt terrible for it. And I know my son understood. My son understands whenever I have to work extra, whenever I miss any of his games or any of his practices. But nevertheless, it's a moment that I'll never get. And I wanted to talk about it on the podcast today because, well, me and Moy, we fuck around a lot, and we joke around, and we have a lot of fun. One of the reasons that I wanted to do this podcast was to talk to just the everyday man and women, but primarily the everyday man, father, man in general, who's not spending his entire life wondering what the politicians are doing or the celebrities are doing. We're just trying to make it, right? With everyday problems, right? And we have fun. I have a lot of fun at work, at home. I know, as you guys know, I work with Moy, and we screw around, and we talk a lot of shit, and that's what we do, right? As guys, we talk shit to each other. We have a good time. We don't get our feelings hurt, and we just get through life talking shit and having fun. But these are the problems that we are faced with, that I'm faced with, and I know a lot of people watching are faced with. It's not about what's going on in the outside world. It's about what's going on in our home, right? In our home, in our neighborhood, in our community, and with our family, right? It's a struggle to raise 4 kids. It's hard to raise 4 kids. I have 2 teenagers, and I have 2 younger kids, and they're all unique in their own ways. They all need different things, and trying to meet those needs and to do everything that they ask or that they want me to be involved in as much as I want to do it, it's not always possible. And it's hard. It's hard to reconcile with that, to face that, to split that time with work, to provide, and doing, taking as much time as you can with our children. And it's a fine balance, and it's something that the majority of us are trying to balance day in and day out, right? Balance work with personal life, with the bills, with everything that we push through every single day. So first and foremost, I mean, I did get a lot of shit from it. I had a buddy at work, and I sent him the video after I got the video of him making that 3-pointer. And he said, please tell me you were there. He knows I work a lot. And I told him I wasn't. And he's like, you're a piece of shit, Dad. And he was joking, but I felt it. I felt like, man, how terrible of it that I wasn't there, And it's hard. It's hard to face that. But, and granted, I wasn't or never would I be not there because I was having a great time partying or whatever it may be. That's not something that I do. But nevertheless, I wasn't there, whether it was because I was trying to provide for my family or not. I wasn't there. And those moments are more important than money. They truly are. Something that I'll never get back, but just keep pushing forward and trying to be there for everything that I can be for all my children, right? And my spouse. And I know that a lot of you guys are facing a lot of the same problems, and we just got to keep pushing along. We got to keep trucking, guys. And the media isn't going to talk about those types of issues that we're facing, right? They want to politicize everything. They want to make everything grandiose. And it's like, come on, we don't fucking care about that stuff. We don't care, right? Some of us do. Some of us watch it on TikTok and we get a good laugh at it. But bottom line is no matter what, the celebrities that people gawk over, they're not going to pay our fucking bills, right? They're not going to give me that moment that I miss back from my son. They're not going to do it, right? It's something that we have to face day in and day out, getting through each and every day as best as we can, as upstanding as we can. It's important for me to show, especially my sons, what it takes to be a hardworking man, because nothing is handed to us in this life. And I talk to my sons about this all the time, is that as a man, nobody owes you respect. First and foremost, nobody owes you a damn thing. First of all, everything you want in your life, you have to go out there and achieve it, especially as a man. If you want respect, you have to go out there and earn it. And that's something that I've tried and instill in my sons from day one, and I will continue to do so. But I also have to look at it as I need respect as a father. And I know that my sons respect how much I'm willing to fight and protect and provide for my family and for my children and for my spouse. But I also need to balance it with respect, gaining their respect as a father, with spending time with them, with showing up, right? Showing up to everything. And, I've worked overnight shifts. I've worked odd hours into the night. And I'm the type that if I'm off of work, I'm going to make it, right? If I get off at 7 a.m. and there's a game at 9, I'm just not going to go to sleep, and I'm going to go to the game, or I'm going to go to the performance. But finding that fine balance between working when I have to and just saying, you know what, I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm going to go to my kid's game, or I'm going to go to my kid's performance, or I'm going to go to my daughter's dance recital, or my daughter's band performance, whatever it may be. Because those are the moments we don't get back, and those are the moments that they remember that you were there. They're not going to remember the random Wednesday night when you worked an 18-hour shift to provide a little extra. They're not going to remember that shit. But we got to do it. We got to do it the best that we can. So it's just something that I wanted to share with you guys. If there's any feedback that people want to talk about, maybe on the next episode, you guys can go to our webpage, the Sports Bar Dad's webpage. You guys could submit questions. You guys can comment on YouTube. You guys can comment on the podcast. And just remember to subscribe, please subscribe, download. Maury and I don't make a penny off of this podcast, but we are wanting to expand. We're wanting to get more guests on. We're wanting to interview more business people, wanting more dads, more guys like us, right? Friends who just like to talk shit and talk about real problems and real things that us normal folk go through. So please, whether it's through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, through our webpage, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen, hit the like and hit the subscribe button, and hit the notifications bar so that way you guys can get notified when a new episode comes out. Everything helps spread it word of mouth. I'd really appreciate it. And as the weeks go on and we get more and more into this podcast, we want to start getting more interaction from people who like to listen to us, things that we'd like to talk about. Hell, reach out to me if you want to be on the podcast, right? If you're a father or you're a mother, you're out there struggling, you're trying to make ends meet, but you, number one, you work hard and your kids and your children and your family are number one in your life. And that's what we're here for. So reach out to us with whatever means that you can. We'd really appreciate it. But next week, more will be back. We'll be recording this weekend, pre-Super Bowl, talking a lot of shit, getting some good stories out there. And we'll see you then.